in zero. So I was chosen to be the second in command to the glorified lab rat. If it was anyone else but the Directorate, I would have told them to go fuck themselves. Dr. Virginia V. Vesta the Fifth was all smiles and please and thank you to the Directorate while I stood there quietly, letting my work speak for itself like a real fucking scientist. Sorry that studies on bone durability and density aren't as exciting and flashy as paraneurology, and that Dr. Vesta was better with people. I bet if I wanted to, I could have the directors eating out of my hand, but that is not how real science is done. Meetings, connections, networking, grant requests, ethics committees, oversight, all of those things were just meaningless busy work that got in the way of real research. I would be perfectly happy just working in my lab designing new experiments, but I have to spend a full day every other week in meetings, writing grant requests, and talking to little people who thought they were my superior. Dr. Handler, you can't refer to grad students as lab rats. Dr. Handler, you have to shower at least once a week. Dr. Handler, you're making everyone uncomfortable. All pointless meetings and statements trying to contain genius they don't understand. I don't care how many more articles Dr. Vesta wrote. I don't care if everyone likes her better. I don't care if she has more experience. I should have been in charge of this expedition rather than a second in command. Dr. Handler, you should focus on learning how to be a good leader during this mission. So focus on the responsibilities Dr. Vesta gives you. Yeah, sure, Director Richards. I'm not the one everyone calls Director Dick behind their back. They call me Dictator Dick, and they call me that to my fucking face. He'll never understand the struggle of true genius. As preparation was made for the trip, Dr. Vesta focused on the boring logistics, crew manifests, and the inventory. All the boring shit that didn't matter. I don't get why she didn't have someone else do it for her. I mean, that's what I would have done. But no, instead she keeps asking me to do something only for her to take over when she finds out I haven't done it yet. Sorry, Dr. Virgin, but I have a process. It's not my fault you take over because you think 2 hours is too long to go over roll call. I wish I was given something that actually mattered. But she did finally put me in charge of something interesting. Rather than making sure the medics had enough ointments and antibiotics, she asked me to make sure that the helots had their meals. We had prisoners of war on the ship, perfect for target practice, medical testing, and picking up trash in the bottom of the Marianas Trench. And yet, Dr. Vesta wanted me to make sure that they were fed? Fine, I'll make sure they're fed. Enough. In my opinion, most humans are a waste of food anyways. It's not like they're doing anything down there anyways. Why do they need so much food? Instead, I passed some of it among the other scientists so they had extra food, and the rest I just sent to the incinerator. It's honestly a lot less wasteful to burn the food than to give it to some lazy helots who aren't even working. And if they get a meal every 3 days, they'll still be strong enough to work. Plus, the hunger will be useful. You can tell them that you'll give them extra meals if they're the ones who do the most work, and then you tell them someone else actually did more work than them. Play it right, and you'll make the helots hate each other there even more than they hate the imperialist citizens. It works on grad students, and they're definitely a lot smarter than some dirt farmers from Carvex who were dumb enough to be caught by prisoners. Kin 1. We're in primeval, and I'm already bored. I had to turn off my phone for an hour, and there was nothing to do. Every other dumbass on the deck was looking up at the sky or at the ocean. Please, there's plenty of sky and ocean back home. If I wanted to look at them, I would just play a video of it on my phone. Even Dr. Vesta was distracted. I don't know how she ever worked on something important like Project Virgo, if she's distracted by some distant burning balls of hot gas. Also, apparently someone blabbed to Dr. Vesta that I was denying the Helots food. Fucking bastards. It's not my fault a dumbass couldn't keep his mouth shut when asked when the Helots were fed. I don't get why Dr. Vesta is angry at me. I didn't break the scientist's jaw. I didn't tell the hunters the Helots weren't getting fed. It's not like I wasted the food. I didn't hurt anyone. But apparently I'm on probation, and if anything like that happens again, I'll be tried by the ethics committee. I don't get it. I followed every rule. The rules state helots are not to be fed less than once every 3 days. I followed that. If anything, she should be in trouble for doing more than the bare minimum. We're scientists, not ethicists. Doing things ethically only gets in the way of good science. Doing more than the bare minimum only corrupts the results. And now I keep getting stuck with the dumbest possible jobs. Like checking the engine twice a day. Yep, the engine is still all in the green. Just like the last time I checked. Yes, there's still enough food. Just like yesterday, the day before that, and just like tomorrow. Whether I check it or not, it will be enough food. I don't get why I have to check on the engines and do inventory. Shouldn't she be assigning this to some idiot to avoid wasting my important time? I'm one of the best osteologists in the Empire of the Seven Cities. I should be doing something important, not something that's clearly a waste of time. Ah well, we are a few kins away from Outpost Sigma, and we will have a nice, relaxing time there. Kin 6. Outpost Sigma was boring. Apparently they looked over my notes on inventory and used that to decide how much food we were getting. If I knew that was the case, I would have fudged a few numbers off the biscuit count and added a few to the corn count. How am I supposed to know inventory was important? Back in Samlasal University, inventory was taken care of by unpaid interns who wanted someone to sign off on a few college credits. Something we gave them to keep them busy and so that we don't run out of markers. But apparently, that's actually a big deal in Primeval. Whatever. Fuckers. I started taking my time checking on the engine. Just watch a few videos while down in the engine room. There's no point in spending a full hour checking those dials. They're all in the green, just like always. I just repeat those numbers on the ledger. Maybe vary it by 1 or 2 points so no one gets suspicious. And I do the same thing for inventory each day. No one will ever know the difference. It's not like we can even get new supplies until we go back to Outpost Sigma. Oh well, back to my videos until we go back to Earth, I guess. In 10. What the hell does all hands on deck mean? And why does Dr. Virgin declaring all hands on deck means that I have to fucking wake up? Yay, we made it to Outpost Goliath. But I shouldn't even be doing anything to set up equipment in infirmaries. I should be learning how to lead, but apparently the scientists are supposed to get their hands dirty. I thought I was supposed to be a fucking leader. But apparently, neither Dr. Vesta nor myself had time to lead because we were too busy cleaning up the bunkers and setting up medical equipment in the infirmary. I didn't even have time to sneak away and watch a video because there was an entire list of things I had to do. I wasn't even allowed to go to lunch until my list was done. And by the time I was done setting up the infirmary, the dinosaur nuggets were cold and the tomato sauce was hot. Fucking barbaric. I don't get what kind of leadership position I am supposedly training for. Real leaders don't get their hands dirty. The Emperor doesn't go down to the street to pick up trash. The King of Vespucci doesn't spend time giving eye exams. The Prime Minister of Sunset doesn't take selfies with tourists. Okay, yes, he does, but democracy isn't a real government. The Pili of the Triple Alliance didn't join the Macahuele in farming cocoa and vanilla beans. Real leadership comes from orders and strength, not from digging in the dirt and building clinics. Ah, Tavit, we have lights out at sunset now, and she wants us to wake up at sunrise in 9 hours? Is she fucking insane? Well, if I survive, I'll make another fucking recording tomorrow. Kin 11. Some fucking dumbass pellets came in today with sunburns and insect bites. How stupid can you be that you get yourself hurt over something like that? So now we had to apply burn cream and other gross creams to the helots. Another waste if you ask me, but Dr. Vesta said if I refused anyone, I would be shipped back to Earth with a resignation letter. So, instead of using stem cells to build armor out of bone, here I am treating temporary blindness, first-degree burns, and anaphylactic shock like a fucking school nurse. The helots will be in recovery for 3 kins. On bed rest with full rations, and when they're done, they'll get another exam before they're cleared to go back to work or back to Earth. Gods, I wish that was me. Maybe I should let myself get a sunburn so I can get away from this job. Yeah, that'll show Dr. Vesta. I bet this entire outpost would fall apart without me here to keep it all together. I bet the hunters revolt and take the helots with them into the jungle. Probably get eaten by some Tyrannosaurus. Yeah, that'll fucking show them. Kin 12. I'm waiting on my sunblock idea. For now, but something interesting has happened. Apparently Dr. Vesta has gotten some news from the hunters out in the jungle. I don't know the specifics, but she keeps glancing into the jungle and she actually looks scared. I didn't realize the flawless Dr. Virginia V. Vesta V even got scared. Oh well, whatever it is, it's not my fault. I volunteered to be with the helots, so now I'm watching movies with them in bed while everyone else is working hard. Later. So, clearly something is happening. Dr. Vesta went into the wild with most of the scout security teams and all of the hunters. I was left with a few overseers and the helots. It must have been urgent because she'd left after lights out and she actually left me in charge. She told me I'm supposed to keep the outpost going and to try to get it working as soon as possible. When I asked her why she was worried, she almost looked like she was going to answer the question. But instead she told me to just tell the hunters they needed some assistance. So she went into the jungle with them and left me with the skeleton force. Apparently I'm supposed to get the outpost working tomorrow, and I already have a few ideas. Pin 13. So, that happened. The day started well. Everyone important had breakfast together, and we talked about what we had back home on Earth. A lot of scientists apparently broke the lonely nerd stereotype by having partners back home. Well, even knowing that, I told them I'm just happy to be in charge. We left the helots inside, figuring it would be okay to give them a day off in the bunker. And if they didn't get any food, it's not my fault. Then something happened. The ground shook, and in the distance I could see that there were flames in the jungle. Not any flames, but powerful blue flames that shot so high it parted the clouds above. It was only for a few seconds, but everyone could see it. So, whatever Dr. Vesta and the hunters are dealing with, I'm not dumb enough to find out and get eaten. So, we let the helots out and had them load up the ship. I ordered a full evacuation and shipped off within the hour. No one argued with me because they all saw how far those flames burned. And quite honestly, no one is willing to deal with nuclear fire today. So, when we had enough on the RV Harbinger, we left with everyone who was left, and we pushed at full emergency speed. Once we got 20 kilometers away, someone tried asking me about slowing down. I refused to listen. Whatever that was as powerful as an eigenweapon. This isn't a scenario where we could fight and win. Dr. Vesta can request that I stay at Outpost Goliath all she wants, but she can't fire me if she's dead. Kin 14. So Dr. Vesta fired me. Bitch. I got the notification from a text. You're fired. From Dr. Vesta. My final check was confirmed to be deposited to my bank. Motherfucker. After everything I did for her and everyone else, she fires me? She kept trying to text me to get me to turn the ship around, but I'm refusing. Living is much more important. I know what the MSU says about breaking the rules, but honestly, that just united everyone with me. Everyone who ran was fired, so now instead of there being a debate about whether to go back or not, everyone agreed it was better to go to Outpost Sigma United. If we survive, then we can argue that we had to disobey to survive. If we go back, then we agree we're following her orders, including the fact we're fired. Also, I learned today, apparently emergency speed also means that there's not enough power for the cafeteria, so the food has spoiled. So we've been eating snacks, and soon we will reach Outpost Sigma, and I know we'll make it without any issues. Kin 17. We made it to Outpost Sigma, and the engine is apparently now unable to run anymore. No one told me that running the ship on emergency speed would cause the engine to burn out. I don't know why no one told me and why no one went down to the engine room to check. Is it my job to do everything? When we made it to the harbor, we called in, and immediately the port authority told us that we were now wanted by the Directorate. Apparently, Dr. Virgin called ahead and told them to expect us. Apparently, we are guilty of disobeying a direct order, manslaughter, grand theft, and piracy for taking the RV Harbinger after being fired. What did they expect us to do when we were fired? Swim back? So now a few ships are approaching, but they're in no rush because they know the engine was burnt out. I don't know what to do now. No one wants to surrender to the MSU. There's talk of execution. We aren't in any country's domain, and here there's only the Mad Scientist Union, and they can do anything they want. I know what I would do if I was in charge of the MSU. So, telling everyone what I knew, everyone agreed with me. I'm going to load up onto the lifeboats tonight and try to swim over to Isle Sigma. No one in Outpost Sigma goes to Isle Sigma, and there's supposed to be a village deep in the interior. We will make it there and escape no problem. If there's a village made by anthropomorphs, then we can survive. We're a lot smarter than they are, so we can definitely use anything they left behind. Anything to get away from execution. I am confident, and I know everything will work out. Kin 18. I'm the last survivor. No one told me that there's Quetzalcoatlus on Isle Sigma. They got everyone else as I ran through the village. Now I'm hiding in one of the stone cabins. How was I supposed to know I was leading them into a nest? How was I supposed to know these bird lizards were strong enough to fight and win against a T-Rex? How was I fucking supposed to know they're too big to take down with a single fucking shot? None of this is my fault. It wasn't my fault that I was the only one smart enough to hide in the cabin when they started eating us. It wasn't my fault that I locked the door and kept them outside of the cabin. It was clearly every man for himself, and I was the only man smart enough not to fight back, and not dumb enough to try and save the others. If they weren't so dumb, they would have made it into the cabins themselves. None of this is my fault. Please, if the Directorate is listening, please save me. I'll accept my firing. I'll even accept my execution. Just save me from these creatures. None of what went wrong is my fault, and I don't deserve this. None of this is my fucking fault. From Honor. The rescue of Mr. Handler was approved by a slim majority by the Directorate. By the time a rescue team could be found, Mr. Handler was confirmed deceased. Cause of death is unknown, but likely due to large predators on Isle Sigma. The near failure of Outpost Goliath is solely the responsibility of Mr. Handler. His doctorate, accolades, and credit as a member of the MSU were all posthumously removed due to admitting to committing fraud with important records.